Today, Patricia speaks with Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is the 24th President of Liberia and the first female elected head of state in Africa. She served from 2006 to 2018. Born in Monrovia, she was educated at the College of West Africa and pursued further studies in the United States at Madison Business College, the University of Colorado Boulder, and Harvard University. Prior to becoming president, Sirleaf worked at the World Bank and served as Deputy Minister of Finance and Minister of Finance. Her remarkable achievements include winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 2011 for advocating women's involvement in peacekeeping. Recognized for her outstanding leadership, she has been honored with various awards and honorary doctorates. In June 2016, Sirleaf made history by becoming the first woman elected as the chair of the Economic Community of West African States.
Leaders and Icons will be right back.
Hello and welcome. I am Patricia Baby Omawa. My guest is not just a legend, but one of the most respected women in the world. She served as the chair of the Economic Committee of West African States, ECOWAS. She's the first woman democratically elected to the position of a president of a country in Africa. And she's a Nobel Prize winner. She's one of my favorite leaders and someone I've looked up to for so many years. It's such an honor to be here with Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
As the first woman elected as a president of a country in Africa and leading in a male-dominated sphere where most of your subordinates were men, how was it like?
Well, you know, my journey was a long one. I didn't catapult into the presidency. I had already worked in different environment. I'd worked at home in positions where I was promoted to a peak of being a finance minister. That gives you a lot of opportunity to get to meet men, if I may put it that way, who hold the same position in other countries. I had already held management positions in the international system. And so for me, becoming president wasn't strange. And I had already, if you may, earned the stripes as an activist and a progressive right in the country and pay the price for it. So I think it was comfortable position because I've considered myself when I started the presidency as a technocrat. I was going to try to be a good manager, but quickly I knew I had to become a politician if I were going to be able to manage the expectations and manage all that was required in a country that had already been through decades of civil war. So I think it was for me an exciting period, sometimes even a learning period.
Now, you were in the US and you decided to move back and serve your country. What are some of the things that compelled you or made you decide that it was time to go back and serve?
Because I've had a long stay in public service through many positions in government, I always knew that our endowment, basically our natural resources, had provided the means whereby our potential to develop rapidly, to be able to provide the basic services to all of the people, was always there. And that over the years, our country was not poor, just poorly managed. And that if I could be a part, not myself alone, but with a group of people with the same values, you know, that we could have a team that could make a difference and could begin to see our country move, even though we'd gone through such serious periods of devastation, that we could rebuild. And that's what we sought to do when I became president. And I think we tried. Had we not been defeated a little bit by Ebola, we might have achieved some of the goals we had set. But in those beginning years, I think we did a lot to transform our country, you know, from one that was devastated to one that not only had hope, but could show how sound management can make a difference.
Yes, and that's what, you know, I think sometimes we fail to recognize the devastation that you met. And it took great management and leadership indeed to pull Liberia out of where it was and to make it a country that became known worldwide because of your presidency. You put Liberia on the map pretty much.
No, I'm always pleased about that we restored our country's reputation and credibility. We gave our people hope. But more importantly, I see as my legacy is that I was able to see us have peace. Our country needed peace to be able to progress. And today we have about 16 consecutive years of peace. So it's become part of the psyche of the country that if you go to war, the destruction is too profound. So I hope to see that as my legacy, that Liberia will today, no matter what the quality of management or leadership would be, that peace will be maintained, because that's a basic objective, a basic requirement of anything you can do in a country.
You received a Nobel Peace Prize, which is really phenomenal. How was it like when it was announced that you were going to be receiving the Nobel Peace Prize?
I was, at that period, you know, I did not expect it. Although I had had many years of bringing peace, fighting for women's rights, fighting for justice and whatnot, I didn't expect it. And when it came, I was really on the campaign trail, going for my second term. But obviously I had to be overjoyed about it. And you know, I was given that with two other women who themselves, you know, had soared very highly and promoted women's rights and peace and security. And so the three of us, I think, well deserved it. And I hope, and I think all three of us have gone on to carry the same emblem, to be able to continue to promote women, to ensure that they're empowered to have a better life.
Leaders and Icons will be right back.
You've been an inspiration to women around the world, especially women, you know, joining politics. What have you to say about the progress of women in politics and in leadership roles overall?
Women everywhere in the world have faced the usual stereotyping that a woman's place is in the home, take care of the children. But women over time have achieved the same level of education and knowledge, and today have the same qualities of what it is to be a man. But to break through is the difficulty, because men dominate all of the positions, you know. Men make decisions and they favored men because that's what they're accustomed to doing. But we've had breakthroughs. We look at the Scandinavian countries. Women there are just like another person. It doesn't matter whether you're a woman or man to become the prime minister or any of the other, you know, public service high-level positions. And we begin to see that happening in Africa too. If you look at the scorecard, more women now. We have quite a few that are vice presidents, prime ministers, ministers abound, and ministers in those positions that normally were close to women, like finance and defense and justice and commerce. Women are holding those positions in parliament. You have a few women that are speaker of parliament. It's not enough. And I hear prediction, oh, it will take us still 130 years to get full equity and full parity. Well, I don't think it will take that long. The pace is not as fast as we'd like to see it, but the progress is real. And there's no turning back.
That's great. Now, a lot of women in leadership positions still face a lot of kickbacks from certain, spheres of our society. And I know that sometimes women are labeled when they're trying to exert authority. Like we hear to say an iron lady, or what advice do you have for women in leadership positions about how to navigate, especially in a patriarchal society like Africa, for instance? And what are some of the challenges that you face? Maybe you can share some and how you were able to overcome them.
People think you shouldn't be trying for leadership. They think you're not entitled to leadership because you're a woman. And, it can be intense in varying degrees depending upon the country, the region, and all of that. It's a difficult one. And this is one of the reasons why many women, equal to any man in any endeavor, will not run for public office because of the fear of being faced with unjustified comments, derogatory expressions, simply because it's, why are you a woman? Why aren't you at home? Why do you want to take this public office that belongs to a man? Well, we're challenging that. And more women are getting past their fears, and are willing to take it on. And that's what we have to do. That's what's happening, particularly with the younger ones. The younger women have no more fears about setting their goals, showing the same level of courage, commitment, character, and going for what they want. And so our job is, wherever we can, is by our example, try to encourage, to motivate them, for them to keep going. The world is changing, and women will get their rightful place.
I say amen to that. You talked about women not going into certain roles because of fear, and one of my favorite Ellen Johnson Sirleaf quotes is, if your dream does not scare you, it's not big enough. What is a dream that scared you? I'd like to know.
What I'm doing now, that I would be able to do it. And I still have a little bit fears, I want to see myself build a large center where women can convene, where I can be able to identify all the great women of Africa who have made a difference in their societies, where we can exemplify them, where young women have a place where they can be mentored with other women who have advanced. We're going to have something where it can become a testimony to women. My own life example and the life example of others will be the driving forces of motivation. And so, yes, it scares me. It scares me because I don't have the money to do it. But I want it to scare me. That's what I'm trying to do, exactly that.
So is this the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center for Women and Development?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So, hey, those watching, let's come together and make this happen. Let's make this happen.
We're working on it. These things take a lot of dedication and time, but dreams do come true when you work hard at it. So
You do. Are you an inspiration for that? And I'm sure this will happen as well. Now, when you look back, do you have any regrets or things you wish you did differently?
I may have some regrets on certain decisions that I've made from time to time. There's no perfection in management decisions and abilities. But to say that I have a serious regret that I should not have done what I did, that I should not be what I was, no. If I could live my life over, I'd do the same thing all over again. So no, there are small regrets. Yes, you can't go through your whole life cycle the way I've been through it and say you don't regret anything. Sometimes you regret that you took certain decisions. That's all. Small disease, small things along the way.
Leaders and Icons will be right back.
You achieved a lot of great things amidst raising children over the years. Now, what advice do you have for people like myself, raising a family and trying to make a difference in the world? How were you able to achieve work and life balance where you were trying to, pursue a career and raise a family at the same time?
I got married at 17 years old.
Wow, 17.
Right out of high school, you see. And I had 4 children before I went back to school. And I had reared my children up to a certain level. So once I had got to the place where the opportunity for academic education and experience came, you could see that I would be a driving force, that, I would do everything to succeed. And that's exactly what I did. My capabilities and my knowledge came as much from experience as it did from school. But I do not suggest any young woman to follow that path. I think they should plan their lives, take time before you get married, go to as much in school as you can, get the highest degree and the more capability. That's the normal way. For those who may not be as fortunate, just know that you too can make it.
I like that. That makes the story even more inspiring. That you had to go back to school after having kids and make all this difference in the world. I mean, this is amazing. Now, I look at you, you're 84 now, and you're still kicking. What inspires you? What makes you get up every day and keep going?
As the only democratically elected woman in Africa, I have a responsibility to work for the fulfillment of the aspiration and the expectations of African women. I have to take that as my responsibility. I have to, by example, continue to motivate them and encourage them to step up, to go past their fears, to compete, to challenge. I think that is for me the rewarding role and the role I want to see for the rest of my life. I hope that I will have the success as a result of my work to be at the inauguration of the next woman president and the next woman president, and the next one.
Amen. Now, you said something earlier that I think should be turned into a quote. You said Liberia wasn't poor, but was poorly managed. And in Africa today, I think there's a leadership deficit. Now, what kind of leadership do you think Africa needs in a time like this?
A leadership that believes in equity, justice, a leadership that lives by a code of values that recognize the role and the rights of people, and to make sure that they too have an opportunity to a better life. The best teacher is example. And that leader that leads by example in honesty, in capability, in respect for others, that is what inspires and motivates. That's when citizens will follow. And one that respects the law, the Constitution and the rule of law, needs to be respected by example of African leaders.
What would you say to young women out there who is just starting life and wondering what difference they could make in this world? What would you say to them?
Any woman, no matter what particular area you may find yourself in, has an opportunity to succeed, has an opportunity to be what they want to be. Not everybody is a superstar, but you can be your star in whatever you do, through excellence, through endeavor, through determination. I think it's a call from me to every woman, because I use my example, that you can be what you want to be. It takes you, your self-confidence, your drive, your effort to make it happen.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. It's been such a great honor to have this chat with you, and you continue to be an inspiration to us all. And thank you for the legacy you've left. You've given us all a big challenge, to rise up and be whatever we want to be and make a difference in this world. And I thank you for that.
Very well, thank you. Good to see you again.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you were inspired by today's program. Until next time, I'm Patricia Baby Amawa. Do take care. Bye-bye.